What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Tiki Bar. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by Zach McFarland. He's in Minneapolis, Minnesota. He is the president of 1880 Warehouse and Transfer. Zach, thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Kev. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate you bringing me on.
You're welcome. How was summer in Minneapolis?
Summer's been great. Busy with business, busy with the kids. Pretty much just life never stops at this point. That's kind of the section of life that we're in, but wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, love that. We always start with the same opening question, which is what did you want to be when you were a kid? I imagine you did not yet know about the world of warehousing and logistics and such. So, what was the dream?
I think, like every young kid in the upper Midwest, it was to be a star wide receiver for the Badgers and then go on to play in the NFL. Unfortunately, the athletic genes didn't really kick in like I thought they would, but that's okay. Got to play a bunch when I was younger and found a nice little carve out niche for myself doing logistics and warehousing.
And you're a very strong golfer. I know you're modest about these things, but I recall that you were playing in like proper golf tournaments. No.
Yeah, do a bunch of like the USGA qualifiers, the Minnesota qualifiers, all that other sort of stuff. So yeah, that's what keeps me busy during the downtime that I do have. That's the one hobby that I've kind of kept since childhood and have gotten a little bit more serious about.
Love that. All right, so you're a kid growing up, upper Midwest. You want to be a wide receiver. It's maybe not happening. At some point, you need to earn some money. What's your first paying job that you ever had?
The first paying job that I had was at the local rod and gun club. I was loading trap houses and skeet houses with clay pigeons and pulling trap for a bunch of surly old guys with shotguns up in Hudson, Wisconsin. I did that in the summers and the winters. They paid me cash right out of the till. If the IRS is listening, I think the statute of limitations has passed on that. So we'll get past that. But yeah, that was the first gig that I had. I did that for a couple years before I could even drive. My parents were dropping me off, picking me up at the start and end of my shifts. And then from there I kind of went into a bunch of different golf course gigs through the rest of high school and college, and that's kind of where I fell in love with the game, I guess.
So I'm picturing like kind of a ball boy equivalent for a gun range. So like middle of winter, upper
Yep.
Midwest, you have some sort of snow gear on. You're running out on the range. They're like presumably putting their guns down and you're loading. I'm not a gun. I don't know
Yeah.
exactly how it works. So take me through that.
Yeah. So there's what they call the house, like on a trap field. So there's 5 stations that people shoot at, and that they'll run out of clay pigeons in the turret that spins around. So they have boxes of clay pigeons down there. So yeah, me running out in snow gear in the winter, gloves on. You'd hop down into this house that's like underground. It's way worse in the summer because those houses get to like 150 degrees with the sun just baking on them. And so you go in there and you're loading this thing while they're still pulling it. You're obviously protected by the concrete bunker house. The worst part was like, you send the ball boy or the pigeon guy down there and they'll just forget about you for like an hour and a half and you can't really like poke your head up, because it's an active gun range. So this was before we had cell phones too. So you're just like hoping somebody will remember you at some point down in the house to come grab you. Yeah, it was an adventure there.
One of the better, that's one of the better job stories we've had. Understandably, you thought it might be a more low risk to go get on a driving range and be the
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah, you get a nice little cage. You're not going to get stuck out there. That's a little bit better of a summer gig, I'd say.
Okay. All right. So then you do fulfill part of your dream. You go to the University of Wisconsin. Do you know what you want to do when you get into that world? You have a career path in your head or not yet?
I knew I wanted to go to the business school once I got there. I didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do. It was, accounting, finance, management. I knew that HR wasn't going to be for me, but other than that, really that's kind of all I had when I got in there was just, all right, how do we get into business school and we'll figure it out from
And you studied finance, is that right?
there. Yep, majored in finance and risk management. So there was kind of at one point I was looking at, all right, let's get into the world of insurance and the finance side of that. I ended up interning at a great company in Madison called M3 Insurance. When I first started there, I was like plugging away on spreadsheets and doing all this stuff. I was there for, it was a 3-month internship. A month or two in, I went to my boss and I was like, "Hey, this isn't for me. Like, I know I signed up for this. I'm happy to do it, but like, is there anything else I can do here?" They're like, "Yeah, you can help with our sales team. Like, here's a call sheet and bang out some cold calls for us." That was my first foray into the sales world, and kind of never looked back from there.
That's interesting because I feel like it usually happens the other way, where
Yeah.
folks, start cold calling. They're like, "Holy cow, I can't do this." But you must be a little bit of a sicko because you were like, "Okay, no, this works for me." What was it about that first cold calling experience where you're like, "I like this"?
Yeah, it was. I mean, that if the first time you do it, right, there's always that little bit of a rush. Like, oh, is this guy going to hang up on me 2 rings in, or right after I say, "Hey, this is Zach from XYZ," right? And it's how do you get your message across in a 10-second little spiel that is going to make somebody want to keep talking to you. It's a skill set that a lot of people have to develop over a long period of time. For me, it kind of just came naturally, and it worked out pretty well.
So then you graduate college, and it looks like your first gig is as kind of like a sales trainee at a packaging company. Take me through your welcome to like, okay, I'm no longer an intern. I'm jumping into this for real. What is that like?
Yeah, so they start you out. I took a job out of school and as a sales trainee, but the caveat to that was like, all right, after 6 months or a year, like we're gonna move you anywhere in the country. You don't get a say in it. This is how it's gonna be. Like whatever territory opens up, that's where you're gonna get plopped into. Being young, it was the right time to do that for me. So just starting in and knowing that, hey, this is gonna be a nice adventure almost. 6 months of learning, getting my feet wet at this company. So when I started there as a trainee, they put you through the ringer of like all the different departments. So you kind of know what you're talking about. So we spent, 2 months in customer service. We spent 2 months in marketing. We spent a bunch of time traveling with external sales reps that were already out in the field. Then we spent a bunch of time with the inside sales team. After a year, they said, all right, the territory that opens up is in Minneapolis, right back in my hometown. So the moving and the adventure part didn't really happen, but I couldn't be more happy with how it all worked out. Moving back home, being close to family. Obviously, I was on the road a lot those first 5 or 6 years out of school, but it was a great learning experience and getting fully immersed into a company at their headquarters down by Madison, and then being able to take that knowledge out on the road.
Is there any early customer story or a deal story where things like went right and you're like, okay, I think that this is going to be the thing for me?
Yeah, there was a couple. I mean, I remember one total conversion. It was for a food company down in Iowa. It was maybe like I was 6 months into the job, and it was a $1 or $2 million packaging conversion out of cardboard into reusable packaging, which is what I was selling. My whole quota for the year was like $4 million. So like this would have like completely hammered it out of the. I spent so much time down in Iowa just like hand holding these guys and like trying to, hey, push them in the right direction, right? Like I was kind of new to the industry, but I had enough knowledge that I knew the right solution for them. And we put a ton of resources into not only like, all right, developing the packaging solution so that it fit their application, but we like that company was great in that they spent internal resources building an offer for the customer to say, all right, here's how much you're spending in this. Here's the cash flow that's going to work. Yes, this looks like a huge one-time upfront capital expenditure, but like look at the savings over, 5, 10 years, and here's the ROI on it. That really just like showed me like, hey, we were competing against 2 or 3 other large manufacturing companies, and we were the one that got the contract, and that was the one that showed me like, hey, you can kind of swim with the big fish here, and you can beat out guys that have been selling this stuff for 20 years.
That. How about the converse? Maybe a learning experience, if you will, or a customer engagement that taught you something that you needed to know.
Yeah, there's probably too many to count there, like every sales rep coming out of school has. Top of mind, I mean, there was a long-term customer that we had that was handed over to me that, you know, for whatever reason, I think the market back then was still coming out of the 08, 09 downturn. They had bought from our company forever, and they're like, all right, we're going out to bid. It's like, you've never done that. This was my first time meeting them. This was their first big order. It's like, man, how do we save this? You go down there, you spend a ton of time there again, like you're on the road all the time, just trying to get updates and how can we find that leg up against the competition. But yeah, I mean, it's you learn quickly that you can have as many relationships as you want, but it's still a business decision for the customer. So yes, your relationships will get you in the door and they'll get you some information maybe, but you still have to have the product and the service at the right price point in order for your customers to actually want to.
I appreciate you not blaming the previous sales rep. That's what I would have done. Sounds like it was his fault.
No, he was a good guy. Yeah, that not his fault at all.
All right. So let's fast forward a little bit. Tell me about your first managerial experience. You spent all this time on the road. Looks like growing into kind of bigger customers, bigger opportunities really fast through your time at Orbis. When do you step into the managerial world for the first time?
Yeah, so I left Orbis after about 7 years to take on. I ran the entire sales team at a transportation company in the Twin Cities. They're 3PL. They had an asset-based LTL division as well that was divested during my time there. But yeah, that was a entirely new set of challenges, right? You're not the lone wolf on the road anymore. You're responsible for 20 other people and their livelihoods and setting them up for success, and you're more of a coach. Yeah, you're also going on sales calls and helping close deals, but you're more of a coach, mentor, just like a tool guy behind the scenes to help people succeed in their roles, which was a lot different than I thought it would be, but it was a great challenge at that point in my career as well.
How was it different than you thought it was going to be?
I thought it was going to be more on the like actual helping selling side, like, all right, let's go out and I'm just going to travel with every single sales rep every day. And we're just going to go on sales calls and we're going to close a bunch of deals. And it turned into a lot more personnel management and, all right, let's do an update on this so I can report up to the top floor. That sort of middle level where you're the go-between, right? Like you're not having your sales reps talk to the CEO of the company. That's my job now. And it's reporting and it's all this other stuff where, I still had that mentality where it's like, all right, I want to get out on the street still. I want to go help close deals, but there was a lot more a lot more involved in it than I had initially thought it would be. It wasn't all bad. It was just it was
Yeah, that makes sense. How did you ultimately end up at 1880?
so 1880 was this is quite a long story, so I'll just kind of give you the whole background. So originally 1880 was called St. Croix Storage and Transfer, and it was located in North Hudson, Wisconsin. My dad was looking to buy a couple buildings down in North Hudson just for the real estate. He looked at the financials of the real estate company, and there was one tenant, and it was St. Croix Storage and Transfer. And he said, "Who's this?" They said, "Oh, that's our company. We're gonna wind it down. You can basically, we'll throw it in with the transaction for free." So after he said, okay, so they took on management of the company. They were operating out of North Hudson in 4 buildings that they were built in the late 1880s, which is where the name 1880 Warehouse and Transfer comes from. The buildings used to be old rail shops, like they would service rail cars in the 1800s. So you can imagine like the floors have literally like rail tines running through them. The place was old, dingy, dusty, you name it. It was pretty disgusting. And in 2020, he decided to build this 300,000 square foot facility we have now in Roberts, Wisconsin, which is where I'm sitting currently. And then about a year after that, my dad comes to me and says, "Hey, I'm probably going to be on the out here in the next couple years. Like, I'm wondering what you want to do. Do you want to come work with me? Do you want to buy me out? Do you want to do whatever?" I didn't know. I really wanted to work with my dad at some point. I thought that would be a fantastic experience, but I didn't want to commit yet to, all right, go full in. I basically told him, like, hey, we'll take this. Let's do this for a year. I'll see if I like it. If not, I can go do something else, right? But that was just over 3 years ago now, and things have been fantastic. I will say I see my dad less now than I did before, probably just because he's basically retired. But he was there for everything I needed when I was getting my feet wet the first 6 months to a year. And now, yeah, kind of running the show on my own.
So, how did 1880? The big news that you all recently announced was that you're on the Inc. 5000 list. So you go from this like dingy warehouse that feels like it's going to become a wedding venue in the future, from the way you describe it, or something, but it's not there yet.
Yeah.
To now you're on the Inc. 5000 list. What happens?
So I came in. We're an incredibly lean company, right? So we have like 15 or 16 employees. So I came in, and we don't have. I'm the sales team. I run operations. I run sales. I run customer service. I run finance. I'm the guy. Coming in with my sales background was a great fit, right? Like I was able to say, all right, we have this much capacity here in Roberts. How can we fill that up and then add ancillary services to the customers that we do have? So the past 3 years that I've been here has really just been growth focused from my end. We've added a bunch of employees. We've obviously grown revenue to gain the recognition on the Inc. 5000 list, and most importantly, very profitable as well. So it's not just business to add to a revenue. Like we're at the point where we can be a little bit selective about which business we want to bring on. Is it good for our employees? Is it good for us? Is it good for the bottom line? So the first year and a half I was here, I was really just focused on, all right, let's get to a capacity we're comfortable with. And now with customers going in and out for whatever reasons, like they build their own buildings, right? Like we don't have any control over that. Now we can be a little bit more selective on the customers that we're bringing in to replace business that is going somewhere else.
Oh, that makes sense. And so, okay, you're doing everything. Presumably, you're still doing a lot of everything. Has there been anything that you have been able to kind of delegate as you bring employees on? What is the role of a president versus maybe when you were in that kind of mid-tier role where you're the go-between, and then when you were the salesperson on the floor? Like, what are you doing today?
Yeah, so I'm doing a lot of everything still. We do have a fantastic warehouse manager. Our warehouse manager, Mark Raleigh, he's just the best. He's been with us since we built this building in Roberts. So he handles a lot of the day to day with just like guys on the floor, making sure things get done out there in a timely manner. So that delegation is like phenomenal because like obviously there's still, so we're a lean enough company that I'm still on a forklift for like an hour or two a day, right?
I love that.
It's yeah. If there's a trailer that needs to be unloaded that just got backed in and everybody else is busy, like I'll get on a radio and I'll say, hey, I got that one. I'll be out there. So like for me, it's more of like a balancing act of like, all right, I know I have all these other responsibilities, but I also don't want to leave our guys hanging out on the floor either. So being able to, understand what's important at any given time has been probably one of the more challenging things in this day to day. Is just like, all right, I know I'm working on an RFP that has to be done tomorrow, but like we're getting slammed out there. All right, let me go unload a couple trailers, then I can work later tonight if I have to.
Awesome. You're obviously in it the day to day. A lot of technological changes happening. The world is changing. You're leading this company. So when you do get a chance to keep your eyes up and just start thinking about the future, what are you most curious about?
I would say like this whole AI shift is like really something that I know it's going to impact us. I just don't know how yet. I give a lot of tours here to like current customers and potential customers. And one of the biggest things I get asked is like, all right, so our warehouse right now is configured so that we just have like standard racking. We have some bulk storage. We have forklifts going in and out. And everybody comes in and they say, oh, why don't you get like an ASRS automated storage retrieval system? It's like, well, we have 40 different customers and none of the product is the same. Those need exact dimensions, exact specifications. So our niche, I guess, is like we're very modular. If a customer has any product, we will find a way to fit it in here and store it effectively. On the flip side of that, I know that there is like some sort of automation that could better help us, but just the complete mixture of product we have, I haven't been able to find that yet. And with AI coming into the fold, whether that's all right, is there a software out there that could help us better utilize our space or better configure our products, or find a better way to pick product that we're not thinking of right now? That is always on the top of my head, like, all right, what's the next new thing out there? For it's really just it all goes down to efficiency, right? We think we have it pretty well dialed in, but you can't ever be certain on that.
How do you go about looking for things like that? Late night, you just slamming it into ChatGPT, or what is your process?
Yeah, it's Google, it's ChatGPT, it's all the above, right? And like I said, there's a ton of solutions out there for things that are very set in stone. Like, all right, there's this system that if everything fits into a 12 by 12 by 12 tote, you're great, right? It's going to cost you a lot of money on the upfront, but like I said, we're just not there. So it's, I've looked into automated forklifts and all that other stuff. But again, the variabilities in the pallets, like all of our customers send us stuff on wood. Not every wood pallet is built the same. So until there's like a breakthrough in that, I'm not sure what it will be yet, or even like on our customer service side, right? Like, how do we have 2 office staff full time right now. It's like, how do we make them more efficient? If we had a new customer that's a ton of manual data entry, like how do we make it so that we can cut down on that time?
What is a maybe a book, TV show, piece of content that you find yourself just recommending to everyone you talk to. Bonus points if it's not business related.
Yeah, I'm big into Audible. Like that's how I spend my commute. I drive about 30 or 45 minutes every day, and I'll listen to an audiobook. I was doing so I don't I have a lot of favorites, but the one I'll just give you the one I'm listening to right now. It's Malcolm Gladwell's Revenge of the Tipping Point. I've read most of his books. One of my favorites from him was probably Outliers, but yeah. And then my favorite author would be Michael Lewis. They just anything by Michael Lewis, I'll read the second it comes out.
Yeah, all of Gladwell's books are very good on Audible. Would you accept a humanoid robot or any type of robotics into your personal house, your life?
No,
Why not?
I just don't trust it. It'll mess up something, right? I'm also somebody that likes to like I like cutting my own lawn. I don't even like hiring that out just because I think I do it the right way. And yeah, I know that things are very programmable, but a humanoid robotic, not only the me doing it myself, it's just creeps me out a little bit.
Not for you. Fair enough. What's your old person tech thing? Everyone has one of these. My cell phone, the flashlight is constantly on in my pocket. I can't figure out how to watch TV anymore. I literally just don't understand. So tell me where you're at, where you're like, okay, some of this I'm old now.
Oh no, I don't know. Well, it's just all the apps, right? Like how there's so many. Like I have Twitter and I don't even have a Facebook page. Like I have a Twitter page and an Instagram page. It's like everything else. Like kids are on so many different things. I'm dreading my daughter being old enough to have a phone and just like download everything and put her whole life on the internet. That's probably it though. I feel like I'm halfway decent with tech still. But yeah, it's just like keeping up with everything. You know, when you're in college or right out of school, it's like, you know, I was traveling with a bunch of sales reps. Like, oh, did you see this on like you see Bill Simmons' new article back in like 2010? And they're like, no, man, I don't have time for that. And that's me now. Yeah.
Fair enough. What is your favorite large language model to use and why?
What do you mean by large language model?
ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude,
Yeah.
or Grok?
Yeah, ChatGPT is the go-to. I honestly haven't tried anything else. Just when that first became like big enough, that's kind of just where I plug everything into now.
Okay. Is there a piece of technology or a technological trend that you're nostalgic for that you wish you could go back to? Long form Bill Simmons articles might count.
I do miss like the OG Grantland back when Bill Simmons still had his fastball. Yeah, that got me through college. Like the 20-minute study breaks reading the Bill Simmons mailbag. I do miss that. Otherwise, you know, I we used to play like, you know, bunch of video games in college. I don't think I've picked up a controller since, you know, 2015. Getting something like that back, like when my son's old enough that I can actually like dominate him in NHL is maybe when I'll make the comeback, but I'm not there yet.
Your technological trends are the ones when you had free time. So you're really just
Yeah.
asking for free time back
Yeah.
then. All right. So I think those are my questions. So is there anything else that I could ask you about 1880 that would be good sound bites for you to have?
Yeah, I mean, just like, so I don't know, like, do you have a full breadth of like what we do?
Not really. I mean, I have a
Okay.
general understanding, but I can ask you if you want to just kind of take me through the corpus of work.
Yeah, let's do that.
Let me ask you that. So I have a general understanding of what 1880 does, but can you kind of explain it to me like I'm a 5-year-old?
Yeah. Yeah. So we're a general warehouse that also handles logistics problems for customers. In like our full scope of business, what we generally tell people is we have 300,000 square feet of space that is occupied by a number of different customers. We handle products from hard alcohol to food to construction parts to windows and door suppliers. You name it, we pretty much have it in here. On top of that, just like with the storage, we handle e-commerce, we handle fulfillment, we handle pick and pack. So a lot of customers, we have some customers that don't even have a warehouse, right? Like they have an office building with 5 people in it, and we are their warehouse. So we act as their receiving dock, their shipping dock, their storage. We manage all of their inventory for them. And that goes all the way to the other side where we have customers that have facilities and they use us as a forward distribution site. So we're either closer to their customers, we're overflow storage, and we are integrated into their systems through both EDI and API to be able to act as if we were one of their warehouse locations as well.
Oh, that's awesome. So if I'm a new customer and I'm looking for 1880. It sounds like your advantage is that you're able to service basically any type of company that has physical product that needs storage, but you're the right size to offer this like flexibility while also having this professionalism of a robust full-on warehouse vibe. Am I getting that mostly correct?
Yeah, exactly. So there's a couple different warehouse shops in the Twin Cities that will require, minimum pallet quantities up in like the thousands, or they'll require you to integrate, or like the integrations aren't always there, or, everything that comes in, they're going to do it this way. We really tailor our solutions to exactly what our customers need. And we're small enough to be able to do that, yet big enough to be able to provide every service that a larger company would be able to provide. On top of all that, we also have our own tractors and trailers that we run locally here in the Twin Cities. We're fully set up to handle brokerage, LTL or truckload shipments, small parcel. So the warehousing is like our core business, but we're also set up to handle any logistical needs that our customers would need as well.
What's a like type of company you get a phone call and you just know that they're like right for you? What are they feeling right now? What industry are they in? What makes you just know that they're going to be the right ones for you?
So the good news is that like the industry is we're really agnostic, right? Like we have basically everything you can think of stored here, from diapers to construction parts to booze, right? Like so there's a lot of things that we can do and do well. As far as like size, again, we have a customer that, like I said, they have 20 pallets here and it's like a mom and pop startup. So we're still able to help those local companies here in our community as they're on the upswing with growth. But we also have multinational corporations in here that entrust us with 5,000 pallets of their product to be able to pick and ship them accurately. So really, I would say like, our wheelhouse generally is somebody that's more local here in the Twin Cities, but we've had requests and we have customers here that are national, right? Like we have customers from California that they don't have a presence in the Midwest, and we help them have that presence in the Midwest. Or if somebody wants to be closer to a direct distribution point, call it a Walmart DC or anything like that here in the Wisconsin Twin Cities area, we provide that space for them and that access.
Zach, thank you so much for telling us your story here today. We will link to 1880, your LinkedIn, all that good stuff in the show notes. And yeah, we'll look forward to talking to you again soon.
Yeah, it's great talking to you, Kev. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.